Welcome to another video of capital budgeting. In this video, we will look at the fundamentals of discounted payback period. In the earlier videos, we looked at the payback period method. This method is used to rank projects and to decide whether or not they should be accepted for inclusion in the capital budgets. Now, one of the drawbacks of the payback period method is that it does not consider the cost of capital used to undertake the project. In other words, it does not discount the cash flows for calculating the payback period. Hence, another method known as the discounted payback period method was formulated. This method is similar to the regular payback period method, except that the expected cash flows are discounted by the project's cost of capital. So the discounted payback period is defined as the number of periods taken in recovering the investment outlay on the present value basis. So let us understand this in detail. In the video for payback period method, we saw an example with the following cash flow. So the investment outlay is 50,000 rupees and the cash inflow for the next 7 years is 12,500 at the end of each year. Now, upon adding the cash inflow of 12,500 for 4 years, we got a total of 50,000, which meant that in 4 years, our original investment outlay will be recovered. So our payback period in this case was 4 years. Now in this method, we treated all the values of cash flows as it is. We did not consider the concept of time value of money. So basically, 12,500 rupees received after 1 year from today has a different value than that received after 2 years from today. So since the outlay of 50,000 rupees is as of today, each of the cash inflows should be equated to the value as of today. In other words, the cash inflow should be discounted. So now the question is that at what rate should the cash inflows be discounted? Now the discount rate is generally the time value of money. So in case we are borrowing it from a bank, the discount rate is the interest rate charged by the bank on that money. So in our case, the discount rate is the cost of capital. So basically, we should be able to find out how much is this worth as of today, and so on. So here, the 12,500 rupees received after 1 year from now is worth 10% less today because 10% is the cost of borrowing the money that we have to pay to the bank out of the 12,500 rupees that we receive. So now, as we know, the discounted payback period is the number of periods taken in recovering the investment outlay on the present value basis. So first, let's find out the present value of the cash inflow at 10% discount rate. So for each of the cash flows, we have to find out what will be the present value of the cash inflows. Now, let's say we take the first cash inflow of 12,500. Now let's say this is PV1, which is the discounted value of the 12,500 rupees cash inflow. So this is the future value after 1 year. So now we know the future value is equal to present value into 1 plus I to the power n. N is the number of compounding periods. I is the rate of interest per compounding period. PV is the present value and FV is the future value. So PV1 will be equal to FV1 divided by 1 plus I to the power n. FV1 is 12,500 divided by 1 plus, now I is the rate of interest, which is 10%, or 10 divided by 100, which is 0.1, to the power n. So here the tenure is 1. So this is 12,500 divided by 1.1, which is equal to 11,363.6 rupees. Similarly, PV2 is equal to FV2 divided by 1 plus I to the power n. So PV2 is also 12,500. So 12,500 divided by 1 plus 0.1 to the power n, where n is actually 2. So this becomes 12,500 divided by 1.1 square, and this is equal to 10330.6. Let me note down the present value for the remaining years also. So these are the values of the discounted cash flow for each of the cash inflows. Now, once we have found out the discounted cash flow, next we have to find out the cumulative of the discounted cash flow at the end of each year. So let's do that. So here I have listed the discounted cash inflow at the end of each of the years. Also, I have listed the cumulative discounted cash inflow. So at the end of the first year, the cumulative is the same as the first year's cash inflow. At the end of the second year, the cumulative is the addition of the first year and the second year. At the end of third year, the cumulative is the addition of first, second, and third year's cash inflow, and so on. Now, we need to recover the investment outlay of 50,000 rupees. So if you look at the cumulative discounted cash inflow, we would be recovering 47,384.8 rupees at the end of the fifth year. And we would be recovering 54,440.7 rupees at the end of the sixth year. So we are recovering 50,000 rupees somewhere during the sixth year. So since the cash inflow is uneven, let's use the formula for uneven cash flow to find the payback for this example. So the formula for payback is years before full recovery plus unrecovered amount at the start of the period divided by cash flow during the period. So here, as we saw earlier, years before full recovery is 5. Unrecovered amount at the start of the period will be 50,000 minus 47,384.8, because this much we have already recovered at the end of the 5th year. So this is equal to 2615.2 divided by cash flow during the period. So the cash flow during the 6th year is 7,055.9. So 7,055.9. So this is equal to 5 plus 0.37, which is equal to 5.37 years. So if we discount the cash inflows at the cost of capital, then we will recover the investment outlay in 5.37 years. Whereas according to the payback period method, we would be able to recover our investment outlay at the end of 4 years. So it is quite evident that the duration to recover the investment will be longer if we use the discounted payback period method as compared to the regular payback period method, because it uses the time value of money concept. Now let's talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of the discounted payback period method. Even though the discounted payback period method overcomes the limitation where the cash flows were not discounted, it still fails to consider the cash flows coming after the payback period. The discounted payback period also provides the advantages provided by the payback period method, like identification of how long the funds will be tied up in the project and which project is riskier than the others. For more details on these advantages and disadvantages, please refer to the video for payback period fundamentals.